You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
It is our Total Wellness Tuesday show, and I'm happy to have you with me here today as we discuss our 9 back to school and work immune boosting tips that you can use for the entire family. So really excited to be able to share this with you. It is that time of the year, believe it or not, at least here in the United States, Canada, Europe, that part of the world, this part of the climate, where we start to get a little bit cooler temperatures, at least in the north here. And also as just, back to school, back to work in full swing, what does it mean? Well, typically a little bit more stress, a little bit less sleep, and just being exposed to more people, more germs, all of those things that you may not have got over our summer-based season. Plus, oftentimes there's just less vitamin D because we're getting less sun. And that just in and of itself is going to drop our immune system. So we're going to be talking about all of those different things today. These are things that I've been implementing just slowly but surely over the past 10 years or so. And now I can say it's been 14 years since I've last used antibiotics. Now, for me, that's a huge deal. That's a really big deal because you're talking to someone who got a sinus infection from Thanksgiving through April 1 to 2 times per month, every single month, all throughout the entire winter. I would get a sinus infection, and this goes when I was a late teenager and in college and in my early 20s. And this is what happened. I'd get a cold, I couldn't get rid of it, it would turn into a sinus infection, it would go into my lungs, and then I would get bronchitis and maybe pneumonia, because I used to get pneumonia like every other year. And then I have to go to the doctors, and the doctors would just put me on antibiotics. And so I went on the antibiotics. And then, seemingly the virus, I shouldn't say virus, but the sinus infection, the bacterial infection went away. And then 2 weeks later, I would get it again. And it would start with the sniffles, a little something in the back of my throat. Then all of a sudden, my nose could be congested. And then it would drip down in my lungs. And then I'd be sick again. And then I would go back and I would get what? Another antibiotic. What would the antibiotic do? Well, temporarily knock down that bacteria, but at the same time, knocking down my good bacteria, further weakening my immune system, only further destroying my intestinal microbiome, causing gut-based permeability issues, allowing proteins to seep through my bloodstream, causing an inflammatory-based reaction. But besides all that, the antibiotics were great, right? Because they would get rid of the temporary fix, which was the sinus infection, leaving me with, of course, a 100% relapse rate. That's what it is right now. If you take antibiotics for a sinus infection, expect a 100% relapse rate with getting another sinus infection. And that's because you are throwing off your own microflora. Remember, inside the mucous membranes, inside the mucus of the nasal passages, so the gut in general, the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, with essentially all the mucus that your body produces inside of that mucus. And the reason we ramp up mucus production, right? We're always trying to get rid of mucus, but here's the problem. Mucus carries with it the ability to bring more white blood cells. It's a first-line defense to remove pathogens from the environment, right? So the environment is those pathogens come into our nasal passage. They come into the throat. They get into the gut somehow, and our body produces mucus. And it does that to ramp up the immune-based defense and to clear that from the system. So when we get a runny nose, we're not supposed to right away stop that runny nose. The nose is running to remove the pathogens that your body's trying to get out of itself. When you get diarrhea, your body is quickly trying to remove the bacterial overgrowth, whatever type of antigens and pathogens that it's already killed or it's trying to expel through the stool, okay? This happens when we get a virus. Sometimes we have to urinate far more often. Our thirst increases as well to try to just, again, keep cleansing the body. These are all natural reactions. We get a fever. What happens when we get a fever? Well, when our body gets a fever, it is our own way of increasing core temperature. As we increase core temperature, we kill viruses, right? But we also exponentially speed up the pace and flow of white blood cells to the body so that they can further kill the bacteria or viruses. These are known things that happen within our body. Now, unfortunately, we've been told over and over and over again that we need to suppress these things, lower the fever, right? Get rid of the sniffles and the mucus and all of those things. So we take all of things to suppress this. Well, we know from homotoxicology, and I've done shows in this, so hopefully if you go back, just go to stephencabral.com/podcast, type in homotoxicology, or type in the 4 phases, I believe it's called, of disease. Just type in 4 phases, the podcast will pop up. And I talk about disease progression. If you suppress colds and these little things that come up now, they become bigger things in the future. That's what I did. We literally had Z-Packs in my house growing up. We were a pharmacy. Literally, we were a pharmaceutical-based company in our house. Now, neither one of my parents were pharmaceutical vendors, but our doctor would just give us Z-Packs, zithromycin. They would give us antibiotics to keep in the house if we got any type of nasal congestion right away. After 2 days, it was still there. If we had that green mucus, right away, we're looking at using antibiotics. The problem with that is this, is that we, as human beings, need to build up our own humoral and other types of defenses and immune systems in the body. That allows us to have a stronger, what's called Th1-based immune system. If we continue to suppress things, we end up with chronic-based diseases in the body. So what I want to do today, and I know I went on a little rant there, is I want to give you ways that you can keep yourself healthier so that you don't get a lot of the colds in the first place, that you boost your immune system. And also that if you do get the cold, that you can follow a natural-based protocol in order to get yourself well. And sometimes it might even take an extra day or two. But you are healing yourself then for the long run. So if you allow yourself to fight the pathogen, whatever that thing was that entered your body, you're going to be better off in the long run, because if you encounter it again, you now have the natural immunity to be able, that it's already been marked, it's been tagged to be removed, killed, eliminated from the body. So that's what we need to do. And it took me quite a while, right? So I was on antibiotics for my entire life, over 3,000 capsules of amoxicillin just from the age of 14 to 17, right? Totally destroyed my immune system, became completely dysfunctional, ruined the mitochondria in my body, and I had to build my body from the ground up, removing the type 2 diabetes, the rheumatoid arthritis, the myalgic encephalomyelitis, the chronic fatigue immunodeficiency syndrome, removing everything else, right? Everything else that was going on as well. I can't even think of everything right now. So what I did was I built that body back up over a period of time, but I still had to stop using the antibiotics because every time I used them, I would then suffer the repercussions of the gut-based issues, the mitochondrial issues. Now, I'm not telling you not to use antibiotics in life-saving conditions. Very far from that. I believe in all forms of medicine. And if we're talking about life-saving medicine, I am wholeheartedly a believer in conventional medicine, and I'm thankful that we have brilliant MDs in emergency room medicine. Thankful for all of those things. I truly am. And I hope that one day I don't need them, or I hope one day that my family never needs them. But if we do, I know that they're there, and I know that they're at my disposal. However, for sinus issues, ear, nose, and throat issues, for fevers, for tonsils, for all of these things, my children, myself, my family, those in my practice, these are not things that we need to run out for and do the quick fix. Of course, if it ever becomes life-threatening, then yes, that is a different story. But we're going to use the best of natural medicine. The same things that have been used for thousands of years. And we're going to use them just as successfully as they've always been used. And this only changed just a little over 100 years ago. So that's what I want to let you know, is that we've been around quite a while as humans. People like to say, oh, well, people died at a younger age because of this, this, and this. Listen, when you go back through all of the different research, you'll see that the majority of people, the reason why that people died at a younger age was because of multiple reasons that we've now already fixed. And the first and largest one was infant mortality, right? As well as mothers dying during childbirth as well. And then there was famine and drought. Well, now that we're using sterile-based procedures, And we have, again, better medicine in those terms, as well as plentiful food for a lot of us, at least listening to the podcast, right? And we're trying to hopefully do better throughout the world, that we don't have these issues then. People still could live and did live long, healthy lives. Sure, when major diseases rolled through, there were issues, right? And those would have been acute life-saving conditions. And that is when we would always use conventional medicine. So again, I'm a big believer in both. However, I never want to set myself back again in terms of health. And so that's how I look at it. So I'm going to take you through 9 different things. They're very, very simple. Like, these are simple things. I don't want to overcomplicate your life. I really don't. What I want to do is make things really easy for you so that you're already bolstering your immune system as well as your children's, so that hopefully when they get a little cold, little sniffles, that they get rid of it within 3 to 5 days and it's gone, right? And then if you have young kids, well, they're going to get the next one in a month from now, and then you'll have to do it again. But that's how it works with kids, right? Why? Because their bodies they haven't encountered these pathogens before. So they encounter them, and they get sick. Now that means, again, what? Well, they get a stuffy nose, they get an earache, they get some swollen tonsils, they get a lot of things going on. But remember, those are all healing processes of the body. The body is reacting in those ways to the pathogen. And most people haven't taught you this. I mean, like, most doctors have not taught you that the symptoms of dis-ease and the symptoms of sickness, as in a cold, are actually healing processes by the body. The fever, the mucus, the congestion, all of those things. Now, I know they're unpleasant. I totally agree with you. You don't want them. But if you were to get a parasite or you would get bacteria in your body, you would want to make sure that you're eliminating that as quickly as possible. And that's why your body does start to get loose stool or diarrhea. These are healing processes. Now, they can go too far, right? We don't want kids to get a fever above 103, and we certainly don't want adults to have a fever above 105. So we look at those things, right? And if my girls get a fever and it starts to get into the 102s, I'm going to bring that down, right? Some parents will allow it to go higher. I won't. Why? Because I've met my comfort threshold. I'm not willing to go above that, okay? I don't feel it safe based on what I believe. Some parents will let it go higher. I will not. Same with fevers. I will not let an adult fever, I don't even let it go above 103, but most say 105. And that's a threshold as well. So that's how I look at it. Everybody has to go to their comfort level. What I want to do is hopefully we never get that sick in the first place. So let's start going through this. Number 1, the first tip I can give you is this. Back to school, back to work, moving into the cooler season. Let's get our diets back on point where they should be. And that means this, less of the alcohol, which is an immunosuppressant, okay? Enjoy it, go out with friends, go out with family, have a drink, enjoy yourself if that's what you choose to do. But let's keep it to once per week, and ideally on maybe the weekend where you might be able to get a little bit more sleep, right? Because a lot of us, there's less sleep this time of the year. I know myself, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of commitments with school, back to school for my 2 little girls, for my work. They've got the certification coming out. I'm trying to put the finishing touches on that, like all the different things. And they're all great, right? And then I'm going to be traveling twice a month for the next couple months. And what I need to do is manage all of that. And I know that my sleep is so crucial. But really, it's the food. It's what we put into our body that's going to cause more inflammation or an immunosuppressant. Remember, if you haven't done a food sensitivity test, I can't recommend it enough. Because there's this thing called an IgG reaction. This means it's a latent reaction. This means that when you eat a food, it can be a delayed reaction for up to 3 days. That means it can actually cause inflammation a day or 2 days later. What does that do? Well, it actually lowers the immune system or imbalances the immune system. It's not the bloating, it's not the gas. That's not what we're talking about. That's more of an immediate digestive issue, or the hives, the headache, the skin rash right away. That's an IgE. Test your IgG. I will link that up in the show notes today. But really, it's so important. And if not, just start to eliminate a lot of the most common offenders. Eliminate the cow's milk, especially the cold milk. It's mucus producing. It's not great for the body at all. Like, at all. It's not. And the reason I say that, and I say that somewhat forcefully, is that it's one of the main reasons that kids are getting all these ear, nose, and throat issues. And I can tell you that from a clinical perspective. And you don't even have to believe it. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe any other naturopathic doctor, an integrative health practitioner, anyone. You can actually just eliminate it from your child's diet for 1 month if you choose to. And I think you'll be shocked at the difference. We do that in my practice, and that's why I can tell you over and over and over and over. If a child is prone to allergies, asthma, skin rashes, psoriasis, mucus production, runny eye, you name it, we eliminate cow's milk. We eliminate that dairy. And the turnarounds are remarkable. Now, we also test for other food sensitivities that are there, but I'm not going to name those today. I'm simply going to name dairy if you were to eliminate one. If you were to eliminate a second, it would be gluten. It would be switching to more, like I just named on last Friday's podcast, cassava, using other type of good gluten-free varieties that aren't going to cause the same inflammation. So diet, without a doubt, let's get it a little bit cleaner. Let's add in a little bit more vegetables and greens and all of those things as well. That's going to boost the immune system. Berries are also phenomenal. They really are. Apples this time of year, as we're getting into apple-based season, green apples or more of the tartar apples are even better. Really, really excellent. Okay. Second is a good quality, full-spectrum activated multivitamin for both children and adults. Now, this is really important because we're going to give you some individual vitamins and minerals to take, but the body always works better when you don't single dose anything without the full spectrum. So I can appreciate people saying they want to do B12 and, maybe some extra folate. Great. But if you're not taking all of the B vitamins, your body's not going to be able to even utilize just single B vitamins without the entire B vitamin family. They all work on glucose metabolism. They all work on energy. They all work on buffering stress. You need all of them. Right? It's critical. Yes, your folate and your B12 and even a little B6 will work great for greater oxygenation of the red blood cells, right? B6 will work greater for conversion from tryptophan or 5-hydroxytryptophan to serotonin. So there are individual vitamins, and I agree with you. And, on Fridays, I go through all of those, the super nutrient of the week. I literally go through the research. I show you why they're so important, but you should be using an overall full spectrum one. So, of course, we offer the daily nutritional support that you can make a smoothie every morning that's going to boost your immune system, or you can use the daily activated multivitamin. If you choose to use another brand, great. Just look for, like I explained over the weekend on the house calls, a methylated B vitamin. Look for the paradoxal 5-phosphate, the P5P for the B6. Look for the nature folate or the methylfolate or the 5-MTHF. Look for the methylcobalamin or the dinosylcobalamin for B12, right? Not the cyanocobalamin. Look for a good quality vitamin that costs you maybe $10 more a month than a regular multi, but that's less than 30 cents a day. So it's non-toxic. That's the biggest thing. One, it's made by a functional medicine company. The second, you're getting the results that you want. You might as well pay the 30 more cents. That's all it literally costs. The difference besides that and like a cheap one that you would get at, Costco. And, I usually give this line out and it's true. It's true in all instances that you don't buy your vitamins where you buy your toilet paper and toothpaste. It's just it's one of those things. They're not going to specialize in toilet paper and vitamins. It's just not what you should be doing, right? So that's one of those tips. Look for good quality functional medicine company for all of these items that I'm naming. And I would say only half are Equilibrium nutrition-based products that I formulate for. You're always welcome to go with your local naturopath that you're working with, integrative health practitioner, integrative medicine doctor, whoever it might be. And if they have great quality brands, then absolutely fantastic. But take a good quality multi-mineral, okay? Multi-mineral. Vitamin C. Vitamin C is my third one. There is literally not too much better than vitamin C. And it's such a boring vitamin. It really is. You're like, oh, vitamin C. Okay, everyone's heard of vitamin C. It doesn't make it any less important. That's the thing. I gave up on vitamin C for a little while, way back. This is quite some years ago. And then I realized vitamin C is what makes every other vitamin better. It literally is a recycler of other antioxidants. So if you think vitamin E is great, if you think vitamin A is great, if you think, overall liver detoxification is great, well, vitamin C helps all of those things work better. And clinically proven that the more vitamin C a person gets, now there are upper limits, it will cause loose stool and we want to stop obviously at that point, but the more vitamin C that we can get, the less incidence of colds. And I think that's remarkable. I don't think we need to go overboard. I only recommend a couple grams a day during the winter. I myself just do about 1.5 grams because I get it in my daily nutritional support shake. And then I also do my full spectrum vitamin C every day. And then when I feel a cold start to come on or I travel, I'll get to that in a moment. I take the alkalizing vitamin C and I do 2 scoops of that every day. So now I'm getting 5 grams from the alkalizing vitamin C. When I start to feel something come on, and I do my 1.5 grams every day of the other, which is the full spectrum vitamin C, just 2 caps. It's a functional medicine and Ayurvedic blend, and the daily nutritional support. So vitamin C for your kids, vitamin C for you. Okay. Children get it in the daily nutritional support if they're doing a half a scoop or so of that. But really, I like to do a little extra vitamin C. I really do. Some kids will only do the gummies. Okay, fine. I'll link up some gummies in the show notes today. Simply go to stephencabral.com/956. That is today's podcast, I believe, 956. I will link that up. But I like the liquid better as well. And that's because I add the liquid when my kids get sick, and then I also add the liquid to the shake as well, just for a little extra vitamin C. How much do I do for kids? For my girls, 250 milligrams. That's it. It's 1/4 gram. That's all that we use. That's it. And that works great. And then when they get sick, well, we do 3 of those a day. So they're getting 3/4 of a gram. And that's just in one particular product. There are multiple liquid vitamin Cs that I like. There's one that I use. I'll link that up on Wellevates. And then there's another one by Child Life. So that's a great one as well. So I'm going to link that up on the show notes today. A lot of great companies that I'm going to be recommending overall today. So, and again, this is exactly what I do myself and exactly what I do in my practice and with my family. So I'm giving you the specific protocols. Now, zinc. Zinc is number 4 on the list. Zinc is extremely important. Those people with less zinc have less built-in natural immunity. How do we boost zinc? Well, we can boost zinc through foods. We've spoken about that many times before. I've done zinc as a super nutrient of the week. Let me find the exact podcast we did that on so I can have you tune back in for all the research and data on that. That was on March 2nd of this year. So you can simply go to stephencabral.com/podcast, type in zinc in quotations, or just scroll back to that March 2nd episode. Okay, so on a typical daily basis, most people in my practice during the wintertime are taking somewhere between 15 milligrams, which is in the daily nutritional support, to 30 milligrams to bump up their zinc levels. That can be done just by doing the daily nutritional support plus the balanced zinc. Very inexpensive product to use. I use it all winter long. I've already started taking it. And the reason I use the balanced zinc is that it is balanced. So if you have good balanced levels, you can test that on a hair tissue mineral analysis. You can use zinc with a tiny bit of copper, and that copper is balanced to the zinc. So you actually run a hair tissue mineral analysis to find that out, your exact ratio, because copper is used at a much smaller ratio, somewhere in about a 9-to-1 ratio or so. Okay, so really, really important that we're using zinc to boost the immune system. Extremely important. Okay, it buffers stress. It's naturally anti-candida. It actually helps bind up other metals in the body, and it's great for boosting the immune system. Okay, vitamin D. Vitamin D is a must. If you don't maintain a tan, you have most likely low vitamin D levels. That includes the summertime as well. So all of our friends over in Australia, New Zealand, and that part of the world, they're moving into their springtime. They'll start to get a little bit more sun. But if you do not maintain a tan, you are most likely deficient in vitamin D. And that's because I've run 1,000+ vitamin D labs, way over that. And when I look at all these labs, I say, oh, well, about like 3 people, that's it. 3 people out of 100 are maintaining that 50 to 70 nanograms per deciliter that I'm looking for. So it's important to run it. You can run a vitamin D test, or you can run what's called a thyroid adrenal hormone test that gives you all your hormones, including vitamin D, that we actually look at as a hormone because it has so much powerful function in the body, and your insulin and hemoglobin A1C. Amazing lab. You can look at that. Most people need about 35 IUs per pound of body weight. Really easy math. That's about 4,000 to 5,000 IUs for most adults. 2 drops of our vitamin D, and that bottle lasts you a year and a half. And we gave it away free, I believe, in January. So you probably already have some still left. Literally, it's 2 drops, not 2 dropperfuls, but 2 drops. That's 4,000 IUs just in 2 drops. And I believe there's like 1,000 servings. It's something insane. So that's it. I mean, it's a great product. 35 IUs per pound of body weight. That goes for children as well. So obviously they need a lower dose. My girls get about 800 IUs per day, every single day. No days off. And I take the 2 drops every single night. And what else can I tell you about that? And then also in the daily nutritional support, you're getting 400 IUs. So for the average adult, you're getting 4,400 IUs. Based on that, again, run your vitamin D in the winter. Make sure it's between 50 and 70 nanograms per deciliter or milliliter. That's escaping my mind right now. But you'll see it in the lab. It's always between 50 and 70. 50 and 80 maximum, unless you're working with a health practitioner that wants you to go higher in terms of maybe you're dealing with cancer or something like that, and they might work with you in that specific way. Each one of these super nutrients were already done on a previous show. So, for example, 3 types of vitamin C was done on February 9th, if you want to go back on that. Zinc was 3.2. I went over, let's see if we did vitamin D. How could we have not done vitamin D? But maybe we didn't. I see vitamin K. I see all these other great ones. Have I not done vitamin D? I must have talked about it 100 times on other podcasts. Well, that might be one of our upcoming ones. All right, I'll put it in there if I have not done vitamin D. It seems hard to believe, but it does help everything from cholesterol to weight loss. I'm going to look through my notes, and if I haven't, I'm going to go make sure I do a specific super nutrient of the week on that. That's for sure. Okay, number 6 is omega-3s. A lot of people overlook omega-3s in terms of health. You can actually, so I want people to get used to taking back control of their own health, their research, everything. You can simply type in EPA and DHA or just type in omega-3 and immunity, and you'll see amazing research and statistics by using things such as omega-3 fish oils, cod liver oil, and using it to boost the immune system. So I'm a big advocate of running the omega-3 lab test. It tells you exactly how much omega-3 that you need, whether your levels are already sufficient. And remember that those with a 9% saturation of omega-3 in their blood, clinical research shows that they have a 90% risk reduction rate for cardiovascular death. That's heart attacks, it's anything cardiovascular death-wise. It is absolutely remarkable. Everyone over the age of 35 should be running that lab. And also, remarkably easy to do, which is why they actually prescribe omega-3s. Like your MD can actually prescribe you it. I don't recommend that type because it's a patented version, and I like the more natural versions, but that is neither here nor there. All right, number 7 is a probiotic. Probiotics, so important, even more so during the winter. Many clinical research studies have been done showing specific strains, especially lactobacilli as well, because they're a nice sterilizing-based strain, help you to boost the immune system. Remarkable. We use the daily probiotic support once people have that balanced gut or they feel pretty good overall. That's part of the Dr. Ball Daily Protocol. Again, the Daily Protocol is the Daily Nutritional Support Shake, the Daily Fruit and Vegetable Blend, which is 22 organic fruits and vegetables. It's a greens to help boost your antioxidants and your immune system as well. It contains chlorella. And the Daily Probiotic Support, 50 billion live units per day. That's shelf stable. They don't need to be refrigerated because of the technology. And they even last, even if you were to keep them in a heated truck at 90 degrees for over 2 months straight, they would still maintain potency. And again, we have all the COA, certificate of analysis, and all that on it. So it's pretty remarkable. And again, this is where functional medicine is going. It's also why you just can't buy a product at Walmart. Like, it's just not going to work. You never have to use any of the brands that I recommend, but I do recommend going with a good functional medicine company, working with your local functional medicine practitioner, and just getting the results that you want, because all these things do work. I mean, they really do. And it's remarkable to see it play out in the real world. Another one of my favorites besides the Daily Probiotic Support is I love fermented ginger and carrots. So a lot of different local, farmers markets, they'll make their own ginger carrot fermented vegetables. And it's great for digestion. It's very warming for the body. And of course, it contains natural probiotics. Now, do make sure you do not have SIBO or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or candida if you're going to be using fermented vegetables, okay? Really important that you make sure, because they're powerful prebiotics. So prebiotics plus the bacteria, okay? They can be great, not a huge dosage, but they can be great if you don't have any gut overgrowth. You can test that with an organic acids test or stool test. That's up to you. But a lot of people, they don't work for. They cause bloating and all sorts of issues, and that's kind of a dead giveaway because they are fermentable, that there's something in your gut that's fermenting them. So really important to look at that. My number 8 is glutamine, or something like the Healthy Gut Support Powder. What is that? Well, it's glutamine mixed with aloe vera, mixed with zinc carnosine. So it's a great way to get your zinc, help build up that gut wall. Glutamine to support stress, especially if you're getting less sleep or your immune system is struggling. Remember, when you get stressed and your immune system is working hard, your body naturally begins to use more of glutamine, your B vitamins, zinc, and vitamin C. And guess what I listed today, right? A multi with those Bs, so you don't have to take them separately if you don't want to. The vitamin C, the zinc, the glutamine. Remember, this is clinically researched. Conventional medicine, naturopathic medicine, anyone who's looking at the research, they read the same exact things. So it's really important. Like, these things do work, and that's why we use them all the time, and they work fantastically well. Now, the last part is that you can look into our children's immune protocol. I don't believe any of them are our actual products. In the adult immune protocol, and I don't believe any of those are actually our products. I've done previous podcasts on those, but I want to make some highlights because you can go back and research those. When your child or if you get sick, what you are essentially doing is a higher dosage of the vitamin C, a higher dosage of the zinc, but you're also adding in oregano oil and you're adding in echinacea. They're very, very powerful and they work remarkably well. Echinacea should not be used over and over and over. I like echinacea in 1 to 2 week spurts. It helps to increase, mobilize the white blood cell action, and then allow that to calm back down. Then you can use it again and get the same effect again if you get it out of your system for a little bit. Elderberry. Elderberry is clinically proven to kill the flu virus. So look into that as well. Elderberry in the flu. Just look at the research. It's there. It is there. It is absolutely there. And so you can use elderberry for that as well. Again, that's a part of our children's protocol. Is exactly what we do. Thyme oil, oregano oil, cloves. They all work absolutely fantastic. Huge, huge fans of those. A couple other things I want to mention is this. When I'm traveling, so I'm going to be traveling quite a bit, September, October, right up to the beginning of November and then Thanksgiving here in the U.S. Then I stop my travel from mid-November to the holidays because I like to enjoy and be with my family and just try to relax a bit. And so when I travel, the day before I start traveling, I ramp up my vitamin C, I take my alkalizing vitamin C, and I ramp up my zinc. I'm still doing all the rest of the Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol, my omega-3, all that great stuff. But then I ramp up those the day before I travel, the day of travel, and the day after. And I typically do 2 servings of them. And the reason I do that is that I know I'm going to be exposed to all of these nasty bugs on the plane, right? And in the airport and everywhere. So what I can't be is sick for when I'm going to speak on stage or I'm being interviewed or something like that. I can't be sick. It's just people don't want to see a sick naturopathic doctor. They don't want that, and I understand that. I do get sick. I get sick in the winter, and I use these protocols to get better, right? It happens. Like, we all get sick because we get exposed to new things. Body hasn't seen it before, needs to fight it, it fights it, and then you're better. And same with me. Same exact thing happens, and life is good, right? Because I get better. And that's the whole thing, is I try to get better then within 72 hours and just ramp up that immune system and feeling good. So what I'd like you to do is look into the children's immune protocol, the adult immune protocol. We'll link them up on the podcast show notes. The last thing is this. When you're feeling run down, when you're overstressed, when there's a lack of sleep, when you feel like a cold might be coming on, do not try to over-exercise. A lot of people try to exercise it out. That's only going to further suppress the immune system, especially heavy weight training. A little light cardio has not been shown to suppress the immune system, but heavy resistance training has been. You can still do a workout, but you have to keep it light. My recommendation is that I would rather see you do a little stretching and maybe a massage and then hit the sauna instead. As part of the rain barrel effect, I went through something called the Dr. Cabral Detox Hour, but you can get basically a lot of those effects by even doing a self-massage and then getting into an infrared sauna. Remarkable. Why? Because you're creating your own natural fever. Remember, the body knows how to heal itself. If we can try to mimic it, if we can give it all the raw material that it needs, and some of the great herbal medicine that we've known has been working well for thousands of years, I truly believe you can keep yourself healthy, you can keep your friends healthy, your family, your community. So do feel free to pass this show along to anyone you believe it could help. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.